Hello and welcome to the latest of the Socceroos matches in the Kuwait hub, the third of 4 World Cup qualifiers, looking to put Australia in the best possible position going through to the third round of the AFC qualifiers for next year's World Cup. Hello and welcome to the studio. Australia set to take on Nepal tonight. Robbie Slater and Mark Bosnich with me in the studio. As always, gentlemen, couldn't think of a better way to spend an all-nighter on a Friday night with you guys. How are we?
Exactly.
What do we say?
Good
Evening, good morning? Or...
You've been doing all-nighters every night.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. I was here 24 hours ago with the Matildas, hoping for a better result and probably expecting it, Robbie, given the calibre of opponent, with all due respect to the Nepalese.
Yeah, look, we're looking again at different players. You'll go through the team shortly. But as I've said, for the first 2 games, this is all about preparation for the next phase. You know, we know we're going to win these games. It's a question of by how many. And it's a chance for Graham Arnold to get valuable international experience for all these players.
Bozza, we saw on the initial shot, sandstorm has hit that region of the world. A big sandstorm brushed through Iraq and it's coming down into Kuwait. Ever played in a sandstorm?
No, not a snowstorm, yes, but not a sandstorm.
So a challenge for the players?
Yeah, it's always a challenge for the players in different ways. But I'm, you know, exactly on the same page as Robbie is, and in terms of the preparation, because we know we're not going to have a lot of preparation come for the September games. So cohesion is going to be very important. He'll have, when I say he, I mean Graham Arnold will have in his mind the players that are certain starters, and you want to have a look at a few other players as well, just to sort of maybe to see how they go in certain ways. I would like to see him maybe change the system around a little bit, you know, in terms of just to experiment, without going to, you could say, too far, because you've got to have respect for your opposition as well.
Yep.
But that's what the most interesting thing is about these games, and that is the bottom line, the fact to see these new players, how they work with each other, and then looking, it will give us a snapshot of the future going ahead, because these next phase of qualifiers are going to be super hard, as we found out in the last 2 World Cup qualifiers.
So automatic qualification for the next stage. If you finish top of the group, the best 4 runners-up in each group will also go through. Syria and Japan are the only 2 confirmed. Australia, 98, 99% there, because probably we're second best, one of the 4 best, second best, even if things go horribly wrong in the next 2. But a win tonight confirms it. Jordan won't be able to catch us. Kuwait play Jordan a bit later on. Let's get to the team news then. And Andrew Redmayne will start in goals for Graham Arnold. So the 3rd different keeper in these 3 matches so far. And Redmayne, it's his 2nd cap, and Korea was the first one that he played against a couple of years ago. Karacic at right back, Bajic at left back, in between Suter and Degenek. And you've got Metcalf and Irvine as the 2 holding midfielders. Aiden Rustic, who has been so impressive. We'll speak a little bit more about the man who's doing his thing in the Bundesliga at the moment. Martin Boyle, Matthew Leckie and Mitch Duke up front. What do you make of that team, gents?
Yeah, an excellent side, and can't wait to see a few players in there. Hristic, obviously, from the other night, he's so impressive. Leckie as well, always like watching him play. And the other one I'm really interested to see play tonight, after the other night as well, is Karacic at right back. You know, they got such a good, not such a good job, it's such a hard job to do, both fullbacks. Because we know how Graham likes to have those 3 up front, basically occupying as many at the back as they possibly can, and the width is going to be supplied by the fullbacks.
Yep.
So it'll be very interesting to see, once again, how they both do.
So the only ones that haven't got minutes, really, Adam Taggart, who has a little bit of a niggle. I understand he might be involved in the last one, but he's in camp. Obviously, Apogiano, who's gone home with a problem, and also Brad Smith, who's gone back to America as well. But apart from that, Robbie, he's giving everyone a bit of a go.
Yeah, which is exactly what you'd expect in these type of games, because it's a great opportunity to give players international experience, and you know, that's exactly what he's doing. And you know, in these games, and we've seen in the 2 games, fluidity is a problem, because the teams are thrown together. Each team that plays, it's the first time they've ever played. So set pieces become very, very important, and the pitch has deteriorated, as we knew it would. But you know, you're looking for a fluid performance. Very difficult to get that. So it's, you know, it's about this team doing it the best it possibly can in very difficult circumstances in respect to first time that they've played together. Before we move on, I'd just like to say one thing. I think we should note, Bozza, just a massive moment in Australian footballing history has happened in the last 24 hours with Ange Postecoglou taking over a massive world-renowned club in Celtic. And that is fantastic news, obviously for Ange Postecoglou, but also for other Australian coaches. So, well done.
Yeah.
Massive news.
Yeah, huge. We spoke about. I've been speaking about it all day. Actually, I've just done an interview tonight with Glasgow TV, I think it was as well. But it's been a fantastic ride, and you know, he's got a real opportunity. You know, for something that he would have dreamt about from the first day he started coaching, and. You know, we wish him all the very best. It obviously won't be easy. Coming off the back, when I talk about I mean Celtic are 25 points behind Rangers. But if there's anyone that can turn their fortunes around, it'll be Ange. And we've seen the reaction, obviously, you know, from the fans. It's been a mixed reaction. But as I said tonight on television, I said it on Sky News UK as well the other night, he deserves an opportunity to show what he can do. And I believe if he gets that opportunity, that he will turn around and he will get Celtic back to where they would like to be, which are champions.
He could change Scottish football in the way it's played, because you know Ange will do it his way.
Oh yeah, yeah. And, they don't know what's going really, do they? But yeah, Martin Boyle and also Jackson Irvine, who start tonight for the Socceroos, they'll get the opportunity to see Ange up close and personal on at least 3 occasions with their Hibs next season. But before all that, we've got this match against Nepal. We understand it's pronounced, and Brenton Speed has been just giving us elocution lessons, which is good.
He's very good at that.
Yep, he's all over that. But we were all over Nepal in Canberra back in 2019, 5-0. They just couldn't handle the big fella. And he starts, Harry Suter.
In goal-scoring form, Harry Suter, so if you're looking for another goal, then he'll be a chance. Set pieces, he just looks unstoppable, unplayable at times. So that could be a feature, again, of the game tonight.
Boz, the opponents?
Well, in terms of Nepal, I'm going to call it Nepal because that's what I've called it all my life. But in terms of Nepal, look, and as I said the other night for Chinese Taipei as well, our game is played by over 209 nations, by 209 nations all around the world. And the only way you get better, and that goes with whatever level that you're at, is by playing teams that are better than you. It's not easy, especially when you start to suffer some heavy defeats. But if you have a look at everybody's fact sheet, and I mean everybody in the world, and you look at biggest losses, all teams have suffered before they started to progress. And slowly but surely, these teams will progress, and they'll just make all the tournaments around the world that much better to watch.
Well, one thing about Nepal, they're actually the only nation in the world that doesn't have a quadrilateral flag. So there's a bit of useless information for you at about 20 to 2 on a Saturday morning.
I'll write that one down.
We're off to a quick break here. Live on Fox Sports, the Socceroos around the corner. We'll have a look through some of the key players for the Socceroos we're about to see in this starting lineup for Graham Arnold in this third match of this Kuwait hub. There's a sandstorm hit Kuwait City, so see how that affects players. We've got our resident weather expert, Mark Bosnich, here at the table, so more on that after the break. Back soon. Welcome back. Live Socceroos around the corner against Nepal. Let's hear from the boss, Graham Arnold, in Kuwait.
Graham Arnold tonight presents the opportunity for the Socceroos to lock in top spot in Group B of Asian qualifying, but what else are you looking to see from your team?
Yeah, look, I expect a greater performance tonight. Great energy. The boys that we've selected have recovered well from the first game against Kuwait, and you know, as I said, I expect a great performance.
There are 9 changes from the past match day, so those boys will come in fresh and provide a lot of energy and spark for the team.
Yeah, look, you know, having a game every 3 or 4 days can be taxing, but the boys have recovered really, really well. And as I said, great energy, but it's all about us and our expectations and our standards, and I expect an improvement tonight.
There's been 7 different goal scorers for the Socceroos in the time that we've been in Kuwait City. You must be pleased that the team's finding a number of ways to score and a number of outlets.
Yeah, look, we've got some great talent in the front half of the field, but also on set pieces. So set pieces is a big part of the game these days, and especially in international football. And you know, we work on them hard, but also we work on our patterns of play. So, you know, as I said, we've got some great talent up front, and you know, it's about becoming more ruthless, and I expect that to happen tonight.
Graham, enjoy tonight's match against Nepal.
Thank you.
if a coach can enjoy a match in a World Cup qualifier. But Robbie Slater, it was this very studio just before he took off, Graham Arnold. We had him in here and he was just itching to get back coaching. Do you think he's now kind of had a pressure release, given the fact that he is a coach, but for 18 months he was basically doing Zoom meetings and organising and doing spreadsheets?
Yeah, I'm sure all the coaching staff are enjoying it, full on. They've got these 4 games, they're all together, and he's got 31 players to look at and a lot of time on the training pitch, to work with different players, particularly players who don't play in a particular game. You get more out of them, of course, at training, and the ones that are recovering, for maybe the game after. So, yeah, I'm sure it is a really special time for them.
And it has been trying for those players, given the hot conditions, 40 degrees at 10 o'clock at night and the like, and a lot of weight lost for every single player who plays there.
End of the season as well.
End of the season, mid-season for some players. Harry Souttar, he played a stack of football over the last 12 months for Stoke City.
Yes, he did.
Where can this kid go, in your opinion, Bozza?
When you say where can he go, how far can he go in his career, well that will be down to him. We haven't, in my opinion, and especially in these games, that haven't seen him really tested by some real quality strikers. And we will do in the second phase, and that will give a better indication of his defensive ability. In terms of his attacking prowess, obviously, he's a very good timer of the ball. He's got the height and the strength that makes a huge difference. And of course, playing in Asia, where the teams that we play against, not all of them, but a lot of them, maybe in terms of their aerial ability, is not quite at the same level as it is with the Australian ones. He's been quite dominant, but I want to see him, like I said, come up against better quality strikers before I make that call. Speaking
of strikers, Robbie, we've got Duke, McLaren, Taggart, you throw in Leckie, maybe a Boyle as well, who can play up front, and I've probably missed a couple there. There's a lot of depth there. Mitch Duke gets his chance tonight.
Yeah, he does, again. And he took it the other night with a couple of goals.
Yep.
And, yeah, he's in the mix, and that's what it's all about. These players are, being tested in some sorts for the next phase. And I do, keep stressing how important these games are in respect to what's going to happen in September.
What do you see from Aiden Rustic at the moment, Robbie?
Quality.
In an attacking sense.
Yeah, quality. Yeah. Great left foot, very positive, good technique. And, we've seen him score from a free kick. We've seen him tease defenders, and he looks really, really sharp. Quick feet, shifts the ball well. So he does look top quality.
Bozza?
Yeah, pretty much reiterate what I was saying about Harry Souttar. And I came back and said, I've said in these games, you can only beat who's in front of you. Yeah. There's no doubt about that. But bottom line will be, once we get into what I call the business end of this World Cup qualifying, then we'll really find out about all these type of players. From what we've seen thus far, so good. But then when we get the likes, or if we get the likes of your Japans, your South Koreas, even Thailand, you mentioned Syria as well.
Saudi Arabia, Iran.
Yeah, then we're going to really find out about it, and this is what we really got to look forward to.
Yeah, those 2 groups coming of 6 teams each. We don't know who we're going to cop. There's only 2 automatically qualified at the moment, but there's plenty of matches happening over the next couple of nights to sort it all out. Matt Leckie, does he strike you, Robbie, as the guy that will be captain all the way through, given the fact that he probably is most likely to start every game that he's available for?
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't think the mind will be made up. Obviously, he's got a head start being selected already. He's got the experience, and the career, the CV to suggest that he can be captain of this group. It's whether do you want your captain in the front half or the back half. So it doesn't really matter. For me, in football, a captain's role is not as important as in certain other codes.
100%.
And, yeah, it's a great honour to be captain, but in football, it's never really held that much interest for me, to be honest.
Jackson Irvine, he was used by Bert van Marwijk as like a number 10 in an attacking sense, and he has been used there by other managers as well, but he starts here in a deeper role. Yeah. We're going to have 80% of the ball.
I was going to say, all due respect to Bert, not many players we use in an attacking sense, so you could add Jackson Irvine to that.
Good point. Would you like to see him? Where would you like to see him?
Exactly where he is now, as one of the pivots. A fantastic engine. really good defensively, and can make that late run into the box and score important goals, as we've seen. You know, there's other players there that are much more suited to being a traditional number 10. If you want to play him as a number 8, so an attacking midfielder, for those who don't know what a number 8 is, then okay. But for me, as one of the pivots, he's a far better prospect, and also, like I said, the one of the things you can say from an attacking perspective, the fact that he makes late runs into the box, it's very, very difficult to pick up the deeper they come from.
Well, he gets his chance tonight to start the game in one of those pivot roles that Mark Bosnich describes it as, alongside Connor Metcalf, and that's a great story. Connor's first Socceroos match to start. So good luck to him, the Melbourne City man. We're off to a quick break, final thoughts, and then kick off around the corner as the Socceroos road to the World Cup continues, live on Fox Sports. Welcome back, live on Fox Sports. That is the scene in Kuwait City, where it doesn't look particularly clear, the air. It's about 38 degrees. What am I doing, actually? We've got our resident expert when it comes to conditions. I look forward to... I bet you one thing's not going to happen tonight in Gosford when we're there for the A-League semi-final.
What's that?
You reporting on a sandstorm at Blue Tongue. So look at him, he's quickly trying to get his hat up and look what the conditions are and everything like that.
There you go, 38 degrees Celsius.
Oh, that looks fun.
How's that?
Oh.
But the wind is coming from the north at 39 kilometres per hour.
That's where the dust is coming from.
There you go, that's quite stiff.
And welcome.
Welcome to all our international viewers as well. And all our, and I dare say, because there is a big community of Nepalese footballers, they organise their own competitions around Australia. They'll be watching proudly on, and we wish them well, and see if they can get a goal against the Socceroos. Couldn't quite do it in Canberra. They've had 2 wins so far, both against Chinese Taipei. Hopefully they aim up and cause a few problems for the Socceroos from their perspective, Robbie Slater.
Definitely. Well, we saw Chinese Taipei when they scored the last game, and what it meant to them. And that will be exactly the same for Nepal.
The away kit for the Socceroos. So final thoughts, gents. Bozza, your
Final
prediction.
thoughts. I'm going to go for Australia 4-0. And hopefully we'll have the entertainment that we had in the first game. Maybe not so much the second game, but it's because of the opposition. Chinese Taipei, to be fair, they've done really well. But I would like to see what I saw in the first game.
Robbie?
Yeah, Australian win.
Fair enough. Not putting a score on it?
No.
Fair enough. We'll see you at half-time, gentlemen. Thank you for that. Let's go there for the anthems. On the other side of the anthems, our commentators will be Andy Harper and Brenton Speed.
And now, the national anthem of Nepal.
have hosted this fixture, of course, 1,400 metres above sea level in Kathmandu. But, of course, we're in Kuwait City in hub life here as the Socceroos look for a similar performance to the one they put in Canberra against the Gorkhalis in 2019 when they won 5-0. A hat-trick from Jamie McLaren on that night and a brace from Harry Suter in that triumph. Part of this 6-game winning streak that the Socceroos are on. For the first time in 20 years, they've achieved that.
Respect decisions, okay? Green, you? Blue, okay? I will take the ball. You go that way. Swap side. Just like that. Okay. We'll change, yeah? Okay. Change? Okay. Go for it.
Matthew Leckie wants to change sides. Australia's captain, our referee from Oman, Ahmed Al-Kaf, the man who was in charge when the Socceroos lost that Asian Cup opener in 2019 against Jordan. Nepal with some fantastic results in this group stage against Chinese Taipei. They've knocked them off a couple of times now, so they've got 6 points in the bank. And here's how they line up today. You'd expect a very defensive formation. On paper, it's listed as a 4-3-3 with Nawawug Shrestha leading the line. There's no Anjan Bista, their top scorer in this qualification period. He's among the substitutes. Arek Bista is part of the midfield mix. Australia, 9 changes made to their lineup with only Mitch Duke and Harry Suter backing up from the game against Chinese Taipei. Andrew Redmayne, the third keeper used in as many games, while Connor Metcalf is handed his starting debut after coming off the bench to become Socceroo number 611 4 nights ago now. Temperatures nudging 40 degrees for this earlier kickoff in Kuwait City. Australia being turned around immediately. Fran Karacic in that right back role again tonight. Andy Harper, he was so impressive on his debut.
Yeah, he did well. A lot of players have put a very good foot forward. Looking forward to the next instalment of the journey here tonight.
Redmayne, Sydney FC shot stopper. Had an indifferent start to the A-League campaign, but really found form as Sydney FC secured that top 2 finish. The A-League finals, of course, starting later today in Australia as the Mariners look to set up a semi-final against Sydney FC next week if they can take down MacArthur FC again. Here's Suter alongside Deganek at the back. Here is Arek Bista, moved on by Bishal. Nepal maybe 130 spots below Australia in the FIFA rankings, but they're a team on the rise. Knocked off Chinese Taipei a couple of times, and you'd expect them to put up a really resilient showing today.
Well, there's no question about that. Ayo Gorkhali would have been the chant leading the dressing room. The Gurkhas are upon you. And with all the disruption, mega disruption caused by COVID, you've already alluded to it, Speedy, we should acknowledge a real advantage for Nepal is the playing at altitude and how foreign teams have a chance or not to acclimatise to that is a big consideration going into an away match against them, and that's been stripped of their armoury.
Aiden Hrustic, well, broken up again. Nepal with the players in that central area. Bajic just settling for the throw, one of Australia's most experienced players now in that left back role. first choice, with Brad Smith back home in Seattle now, recovering from his injury concern. Curtis Good played in that role in the last game. Kieran able to let that one roll for the goal kick. This man, Abdullah Al-Materi, has turned things around for Nepal. He's a native of Kuwait, so able to coach in his home country here in a World Cup qualifier against Graham Arnold's Socceroos. And I'd agree with this. It should have been a corner. Not sure what was going through the mind of Kieran there, and the assistant referee may have clocked off as well. Good pick up by the host broadcaster here in Kuwait.
And just to finish on the climactic conditions, the Shamal, the nor'westerly, which is blowing furiously to whip up all the dust, will be a consideration. The air quality for the players. It started well, both teams, and that last attack from the Socceroos, which should have resulted in a corner, was another example, Speedy, of how the ball on this pitch not only bobbles but runs away. Passes really in behind defence have to be weighted perfectly. You get no assistance from the playing surface at all.
Karacic has already shown his athleticism a couple of times in the opening 4 minutes here. And playing his football in Italy, in Serie B with Brescia since the turn of the year. And there's Boyle tracking back, attending to his defensive duties, named just in the last 24 hours or so to the Scottish Premier League Team of the Year on the right wing. After 12 goals and 6 assists with Hibs, one of only 2 Hibs players in that lineup, dominated by Rangers, of course, the champions, and a couple of Celtic players. Good news on that front, of course. Ange Postecoglou named as the new coach of Celtic for the upcoming season. Milos Degenek played under him at Yokohama F. Marinos, who is just left Ange after great success in Japan. Irvine dropping between the centre halves here. Metcalf on his starting debut. Irvine looking to set the tempo. Degenek again looking long. Metcalf in trademark fashion, winning that aerial duel, brought it down for Boyle, and now Bache looking for Leckie in the middle. Pinpoint header again from Australia's captain in goal-scoring form in Hub Life in Kuwait. And he has his 13th goal now inside the top 20 all-time for Australia, right alongside a legend in Mark Bresciano.
Well, it was a beautiful ball in. There was a great steal from Connor Metcalf, who set the attack nicely, players in good position. So just a delightful cross. A great header, poorly defended. To get that out of the way and just rejoice in the quality of the header from Matt Leckie. Kieran, no chance in the Nepal goal. Beautiful header to set Australia away here.
And that's 5 goals in his past 7 internationals for the man who's just signed with Melbourne City for the next A-League season. What a strike force they are going to have. The reigning premiers. Now Rustic looking really dangerous, tried to place it in the end, and Kieran got everything behind that.
Yeah, tried to place it, but showed no confidence in his right foot at all, did he, Rustic? But he weaved beautifully into that space to get the shot on goal.
Wonderful assist for Aziz Bayic, who played 34 games this season with Kayserispor in the Turkish Super League, just avoided relegation with that club. And looking back at the previous game against Nepal in 2019, I remember you talking about the quality of his service from the left-hand side had to go up a notch. Yes. It certainly did on that occasion.
Beautiful hit. Well, we know that Aziz has it. in his kit bag, and it was a beautiful ball in. That sort of quality hasn't been consistent from him, and if he can improve the consistency, his game obviously will go to another level again. I will be extraordinarily happy with that particular delivery from Australia's left fullback.
Nepal familiar with Harry Suter. He made his international debut against them and scored a couple of goals. Free scoring centre half. Here's Harry Suter. Now Boyle. Duke in the middle. He was looking for the cutback option towards Leckie and will settle for the corner.
Just to continue the theme, it was a lovely ball in behind the defence from Aziz Bayic. And Boyle with great speed, as we know, with his head up, and looked to try and cut the ball back, which was a good option, but there was a wall of retreating red which knocked the ball out for the corner.
Delivery from Hrustic has been a feature throughout his short time in national colours. Just his sixth cap today. And he'll be looking for Suter, who's got two to contend with. Big Harry in the middle. Good header clear by Gautam. And that time Metcalf didn't quite get his duel right. Ref wants a word. It's an awkward coming together head knock for Noah Yug Shrestha to contend with. Real whiplash kind of action.
The ref's more than within his rights to take Connor aside and have a quick chat, because that was a little bit careless.
Awkward for Irvine, but Vishal unable to capitalise on it. Irvine again, right side of that defensive midfield partnership with Connor Metcalf. It's the left-footed option, of course. Here he is again. Now Boyle playing as a 10. Misplaced return ball. Latched onto by Suman. Copped an early goal here, Nepal, but with a lot more confidence than they did in Canberra. A couple of 3-0 defeats against Jordan, beaten 7-0 and then just 1-0 by Kuwait. 2-0 win over Chinese Taipei since coming to Kuwait. Metcalf closed down. They set the trap. Metcalf good enough to take it away from Bishal just as quickly.
Well, it's a measure of how positive Nepal are playing. Look how far up the field they're looking to stop Australia's build-up. There's no dropping back onto the edge of the box and just absorbing pressure. They're looking to set themselves up and congest the field in the middle part of the pitch, and they're daring Australia to play through them.
Boyle did well to find Leckie. Can settle for a corner.
Brushed aside Gautam there. He started well defensively for Nepal.
Sutar spins away to the back post. Rustic dropped it on his head, but again the presence of a couple of Nepalese defenders was enough.
Yeah, they handled Sutar well then. The ball was swinging away, so it was a difficult one for him, but he was under very close attention, as he needs to be. He's bitten twice shy. Got himself on debut against the same opponents, and they're making sure that they're as diligent as they can possibly be in patrolling Harry Sutar.
Corner needlessly coughed up as Nepal tried to play their way out from the back. So it'll be an in-swinger this time. Rustic leaves it to Boyle. Sutar against Kieran, who punches clear. Captain for Nepal atones after giving up the set piece, but there's still work to do here. Able to get 2 fists on that one. Boyle, no look pass in behind for Duke, coming off that brace last time out. Bajic to stand it up. Defended well by Suman Arial. No foul was the cry, but Rustic did commit one right in front of his coach.
His hands go through his greying hair. As soon as Rustic had unnecessarily overstepped the mark.
Rustic so strong on the ball, he wanted Karacic to make a move in behind there, so some evident frustration with the way Australia have started here, being displayed by their number 10. Deganek's diagonal. A little too much on it for Boyle. It wasn't quite hugging that sideline. See that ball bobbling around as Andy Harper anticipated. Again, that high press forcing Australia all the way back to Andrew Redmayne. Just his second appearance for his national team. Flag does go up against Mitch Duke, and they were pretty confident, the back four for Nepal, that they'd caught him.
Again, it was a very positive bit of play from Aziz Bajic. His distribution tonight has been terrific. The fact that Mitch Duke has run offside is really a pity for Bajic, who's been bang on with his delivery so far. Which didn't leave much to the imagination there. He was so clearly offside, really poorly timed run by the Socceroos striker.
Aziz Bajic keen to debate that one with the Omani assistant referee. Push in the back identified, and now Australia have to contend with a set piece. Charles Drahi to deliver. And Mitch Duke sees off the initial threat. Such an energetic player, Mitch Duke, and played the full 90 the other night, and Graham Arnold happy to back him up again. Australia had almost the 3-on-1 and the 3-1 out in the end. And Hunter stepping up. A couple of members of this squad playing abroad, including 2 of the back 4 today. Ananta playing in India with Churchill brothers, and Rohit Chand has won the MVP title in Indonesia with Persija Jakarta in recent years. Metcalf getting plenty of touches, but being forced backwards at the moment, Australia's midfielders. Degenek and Suter seeing plenty of it. Again, looking long. Athletically away by Galtap.
Yeah, 20 minutes in, Speedy, I reckon this is the most difficult opponent of the 3 we've had so far, the way Nepal have set up. The Kuwait were extraordinarily disappointing in my mind. Chinese Taipei had a go, but were not up to it. And so far, the resistance has been very impressive, very well organised through midfield. And as you've identified, Brenton, the amount of times the Socceroos who are dominating the possession but are being forced to receive and play backwards rather than turn and play forwards, which is their preferred modus operandi, is credit to their opponents who are working devilishly hard and are very, very well organised. Here's another example. How long before the Socceroos can break the resistance?
Another corner earned by Duke this time.
Further break the resistance, I should say, with respect to the skipper's great headed goal, Matt Leckie.
Pulls alongside a legendary former Socceroos captain tonight, Peter Wilson, on 65 caps. There's Matt Leckie, 1974 World Cup skipper. Still holds the record of 64 straight appearances for Australia. And the variation for Boyle to stand it up, and out comes Kieran, who was fouled once there was contact with Degenek. The whistle was blown immediately.
This is going to be an issue already. Already players down and stretching. We're just 20 minutes in, so they've put a lot into seeing Australia away, except for the Leckie goal to this point, which is a different angle we're seeing on this replay. What a superb pass from Aziz Bayic, and what a superb header from Matt Leckie. Former Melbourne City to future Melbourne City.
So an impromptu timeout here for the coaches to get their message across. The referee trying to get that treatment to occur off the pitch so the game can continue. Not getting a whole lot of joy. Ahmed Al-Kaf, who was also in charge of an Australian win over the UAE in a World Cup qualifier. So 3rd time he's been the main man in a Socceroos encounter. And Anta looks like he'll be able to run that one off. Good win by Bajic. Used his right boot a couple of times there. Normally used for standing on. Boyle getting a shout here from Bajic, and he honours that run. Again, wonderful defensive work from Gautam, and the flag is up for the goal kick.
Yeah, good run in support from Bajic, just couldn't quite settle on the ball on the byline. Again, undefended, forcing the error. Big doubts as to whether the whole of the ball went out, in fairness to Aziz.
Leckie again climbing to win the header. Is there enough on that? There is, to frustrate Mitch Duke. Fantastic win by Irvine. Leckie and Rustic looking to combine. Played in the Bundesliga last season for rival clubs. Oh, that was an extravagant attempted turn from Suman Lama. 12th cap for him today. Strong work by Arik Vista. Game a little disjointed. The Kuwaiti coach, appointed as part of a development partnership between the Qatari FA and the Nepal Football Association, has done a really good job with this team. They're under pressure again here from Rustic, who plays Duke into the channel, but rolls away from the Wanderers man.
As it tends to do on this pitch. A recurring theme. Yeah, the question at this point that's posed is how long can Nepal hold out for, Speedy? Because you would imagine that the physical prowess of the Socceroos will increasingly take its toll. But for the time being, and for as long as they're able to maintain this, they're more than a thorn in the side. They're really setting up nicely.
Most of these players in red play in their domestic league back home, earning around $130 a month to play semi-professional football. Here they are mixing it up with these highly paid Socceroos.
That's great perspective to bring, Brenton. As they're doing a fine job at the moment. One of the world's most famous destinations, I guess, in a tourist sense, but it's a country and communities with significant economic challenges. And their share of political turmoil over the years too. But the national team is doing a wonderful job. 26 minutes in here in Q8.
Irvine had to react quickly again after having bowled out his way by Redmayne. And there's pressure. Force Australia back when you can was obviously the message, and they're doing that more often than not. Sutar of Stoke City in England in the championship. Regular with them. Deganek, after that invincible season with Red Star Belgrade, undefeated in their run to the Serbian title. Rustic. Duke attempted the 1-2 and then looked down at the grass. Karacic, clever ball, likewise. Duke's back heel for Hrustic, tried to dance around and was fouled in the end, but that was important intervention initially by Ananta at the back.
And if he can get up and recover from whatever ailment, this is in Hrustic territory. Just on the edge of the D, roundabout centre of the goal. Clear foul. Bujan swinging in wildly.
Martin Boyle surely there as a decoy only after what Hrustic did against Kuwait from similar range for his first international goal, which went in off the post. Quickly becoming one of the most influential Socceroos players is the 24-year-old. On the books of Eintracht Frankfurt after that €1 million move from Groningen in the Netherlands. It will be Aiden Hrustic again, and it's a good smart save from Kieran in goal. On target again from Australia's number 10.
Look good. Keeper Kieran had it covered. Nice, strong bit of work from the custodian, but it was a good hit from Hrustic. Does continue to impress.
Boyle's in swinger. Kieran got there to deny Degenek, who looked favourite for a moment. What about that scoop from Hrustic, trying to lob it into the box for Jackson Irvine. Half an hour gone in Kuwait City. Australia 1, Nepal 0. Boyle finding some nice space between the lines. Suta. Long diagonals haven't really been coming off so far.
He hasn't hit many passes tonight. Harry Suta. Or anything of any range. Degenek thought he was in there, as did perhaps Aiden Hrustic, but Kieran seen both away.
Lifted silverware in India with Minerva Punjab about 4 years ago now. Did Kiran Chemjong. And the first drinks break of the night, half an hour in here. And Abdullah Al-Materi has to be very happy with the way his team has acquitted themselves after copping that early goal from Matt Leckie, which came just 6 minutes in.
That's a great header, great ball from Aziz Bajic. This is the earlier kick-off time slot. The Socceroos' previous two games were in the nominally cooler moments of the night with 11 p.m. kick-off, but very, very difficult conditions. Socceroos physically looking to be holding up reasonably well, but tactically not having it their own way. A very proud and stoic performance so far from Nepal. And their bodies on the line and little bits of skill here and there along the way. Frustrating their more fancied opponents, Australia. Really acquitting themselves well.
Another man who's played a key part in their improvement in recent years is Gary Phillips, a man we know well, their technical director, currently back in Australia, tuning in from Coffs Harbour.
Yes, I'm sure. It's a word to Gaz, because a lover of the ocean as he is, to have packed himself up and gone into a landlocked country. To continue his personal football journey was quite a sacrifice, I can assure you. He'll probably, as soon as this match is concluded, be heading down to Sawtell, check on the swell.
Need the wetsuit on right now in New South Wales. And some warmth associated with it. Boyle again just crowded out of it. It's a good win ahead of Irvine. Chance to bomb on down this left flank now for Sulman Ariel. Showed too much of it to Karacic. Done everything asked of him so far in his short international career. Boyle drops it over the top nicely. Just kept on bending away from Leckie.
It was the first time in the match, Speedy, where Nepal had been stretched across the field. And they really struggled to get back. Sulman attacking down the left with a heavy touch, conceded possession to Karacic. And for once, their formation was stretched and Australia had some space, serious space in which to play. Just a little bit of overreach from Boyle on that ball to Matt Leckie, unfortunately for the Socceroos.
Risky header back, pounced upon by Leckie. Dances around one, Matt Leckie, and what a block that is. Putting his body on the line. Outstanding work. Is it Ananta? 23 years of age. He's already got 35 caps to his name. He's been on the international stage since he was a teenager.
Well, that's another point, Speedy. We haven't made it yet, and you've just briefly alluded to it. It's a very young Nepal team. They've got a good crop, given where they're at in world football and the comparative rankings. This is a good crop.
Only two players above the age of 30, their goalkeeper and their striker. Playing without fear. Tight windows there, playing their way through Australian traffic and then chopping down Matt Leckie. Referee plays a good advantage, but concern for the skipper as Karacic looked for Hrustic, top of the box. Now with Leckie still down, Karacic says we better get some treatment for our superstar up top.
Now, the tackle from behind, which went unpunished. It really can cause damage, those, when the weight of the tackler bears down on a compromised ankle. That doesn't tickle. Thankfully, for all concerned, Matt Leckie's up and walking around, however gingerly.
He's had a shocking run with injuries in recent years as well. Australia's captain, hamstring, neck, thigh, abdominal issues, and a lack of game time for Hertha Berlin that added to his frustration and led to that move back home. Good adjustment there from Irvine. Stroke it to Karacic. Leckie recovered okay. Clips it over the top of Sulman, cutting it back, and what a dispatch from Karacic, who has his first international goal. He certainly looks the part in that right-back role for Australia. And in just his second appearance, he finds the back of the net, and it was low and hard into that bottom corner.
Well, hasn't he enjoyed his first Socceroos goal? And didn't we enjoy watching the art of Matt Leckie down the right-hand side? Again, in behind Sulman, the left fullback couldn't recover. gave himself up. Beautiful touch to get to the byline from Leckie. Look at that, just delightful. Swimming as desperate as he could to regain the territory he'd conceded was not good enough. The cutback was superb, and the debut goal for Karacic was very well received. Didn't he enjoy that?
He was dreaming of going to a World Cup in 2018. He was a late cut from that squad from Bert von Marwijk, with Josh Risdon as his starter in that right-back role at the World Cup. But looks like he's fast becoming Australia's first choice right back, the 25-year-old who became Socceroo number 607 against Kuwait. They were in the playoffs as well, Brescia, in Italy. Didn't quite earn promotion to the top flight there. Move came out of the blue as well for him to go to Serie B at the start of the year. Interesting to see whether he plays his football again there next season. Matt Leckie with a goal and assist tonight. 30 years of age. Great pickup for Melbourne City for the next season, and might break his way again here. Rohit did enough. Great pressure from Australia, hunting a third here before half-time. Boyle, eyes are lighting up here. He likes shooting from that kind of range, and Kieran batted it away impressively in the end. It had a bit of swerve about it. A bit about Brett Holman about him, the way he goes about it, Martin Boyle.
It's a nice pickup. It was certainly a good hit. Tidy work from the keeper. It's really travelling.
He loves it when defenders come in tight on him. He's full of tricks, knows how to get out of a tight space, and the frustration in the end after beating an opponent and then getting dragged back like that. No sign of the yellow card. Took matters into his own hands for a moment.
Here's the Boyle hit.
Another occasion the card may have been brandished. Boyle, it is who delivers, and they went for the same ball. Irvine and Sutar, who are both very good on the aerial front.
Another look at the beauty of Matt Leckie in full flight. League fans will be eagerly anticipating already the next season. And Melbourne City's business isn't even finished this season yet. And it's big news for the comp, for Matt Leckie, captain tonight, to be coming back. Scored one, set one up.
What about the subtle movement of Fran Karacic as well, getting into a goal-scoring area from right back? Those replays showing his movement, the way he just delayed his run to ensure that he could sweep it home first time. And you look at his highlight reel as well that his agent put together to get that move to Italy. He's full of smart movement as a right back. Really clever player, really switched on. An Australian passport all of his life and dreamt of representing the Socceroos. Now able to live out that dream despite never being to Australia. Surely that time will come. Suter finally got on the end of things but flashed his header wide. Scorer of 5 goals, Harry Suter, in his first 3 internationals. Trying to become the 5th Socceroo to score in 4 consecutive World Cup qualifying appearances.
Well, Fran Garicic has just been penalised for an outstanding leap.
Have another go, and he kept his arms away from his opponent that time. Making the adjustment if the referee's going to adjudicate things that way. I better keep my arms away.
Well, I think he got pinged for his leg.
Oh, okay, not the forearm.
No, but this is the, you know, what, are you not allowed to jump with your legs now? This is the next extension, is it? They need urgent and crash courses in biomechanics, some of these refs.
Oh, what a classy flick from Leckie, and that is a red card candidate. Referee looking for advice from his assistant. It has come, and the card will come out. They're down to 10. And it's a star player who sees the straight red card. It is Rohit Chand, who can't complain. He dragged back Martin Boyle, who was through on goal.
Interesting, the exchange between the two. Martin Boyle actually trying to prosecute his case of where the contact was. It's a wonderful touch. Let's get to the good bit first. Look at this from Leckie. Mate, he's gone down, seriously gone down, like an ailing economy there. Martin Boyle. That is the most minimal of contact.
But you've been in that situation as a striker. You clean through. Does a defender have the right to put their hands over your shoulder?
No, the defender didn't bring him down there. Let's get this very clear.
Yeah.
The smart's for Martin Boyle to go down. Pay that if you want. But the defender's not in the dock. Like, if he doesn't disappear. He's feathered touched him.
But he elected to put his hands on his shoulder.
It's a scramble. You know. He's paid the penalty. Martin Boyle won the duel. But he dead set went down easy, Speedy.
My point is, as Andrew Redmayne does some impromptu Pilates at the other end to keep loose, don't put your hands out. Striker's gone in, try and retrieve the situation without putting your hands on his shoulder. Six men in the wall for Hrustic to negotiate. And that time he was unable to get it on target. But Nepal now have to play more than a half of football with 10 men against the might of the Socceroos.
Well, he's overcorrected this time. The last free kick from a similar position, he'd underhit, forced the save from the keeper, but he underhit it. And he's just overcorrected there. Hrustic was very, very disappointed with himself. It is a beautiful left foot. We're all hopeful it's going to serve the cause of the Socceroos well over the next period, because he looks the goods.
The referee blows things up after 2 minutes of stoppage time. Australia well and truly in control, thanks in no small part to Matthew Leckie, who has a goal and an assist to his name, teeing up Fran Garicic for his first international goal. So Australia in a dominant position and the chance to look for more goals against 10 men in the second half. At the break in Kuwait City, it is Nepal 0, Australia 2.
Yeah, so it's all gone to plan for the Socceroos, and they get that little bonus on the cusp of half-time with Nepal down to 10 men. We'll discuss that sending off and also the big moments in that first half with Robbie Slater and Mark Bosnich after the break, live on Fox Sports. Welcome back, 2-0 to the Socceroos over the gallant Nepalese, who were set up pretty well in that first half, but a send-off on the cusp of half-time is going to make things mighty difficult for the underdogs. Welcome back to the studio. Adam Peacock alongside Robbie Slater and Mark Bosnich. Robbie, your thoughts on that half?
Very dominant, as we expected, and I'd say more fluid than the last game they played, and looked very, very sharp, particularly Boyle, Ristich again, and in the front third always looked threatening, and Lecky's in superb form.
We'll have a look at that goal in a moment, but Boz, as we were coming back from the break, I mentioned that Nepalese were good opponents, and you started nodding. Why?
Yeah, because I think they played really well in the first half, and I think you got it absolutely spot on in terms of the way they set themselves up. And they made it quite difficult. And like I said, it's, before the game, it's good to see that these teams are getting better and better all the time. But this is the opening goal here to the skipper. Really good cross in. Just goes to show, like we always say, regardless of the height that you've got in the middle of the box, it's all about the delivery. Great pace on the ball and a really well-timed header from Matthew Leckie.
Rob?
Yeah, and another
superb
great
header.
Start. It's a superb header, thumping header from Leckie. Goalkeeper, no chance, great cross. And it was a really good start for the Socceroos, who then found it a little bit difficult because of the way the Nepalese were set up, but still dominant, and it always looked just a matter of time before they get another one.
And you always like to see smartly worked goals, and this was just that for the right back front, Karacic. His first goal for the Socceroos with just his second cap.
Yeah, this time underlapping as opposed to overlapping and coming on the inside, and a really impressive player. One of the players I said before the game really would like to see. And once again, the way that Australia are playing with those three up front, and sometimes when they break wide, it sends a little bit of confusion, which is supposed to do, in the opposition of who to pick up. And if you've got somebody underlapping from the fullback side, it's very, very difficult. The deeper people come into the box, it's much more difficult to pick up.
Red card, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Had no other option.
Yeah.
And Boyle played it clever because he gets a front, and his first touch takes it across the defender. If there's any contact there, it's a foul.
Yeah.
And the position he's in,
The goal scoring
it's a red
opportunity.
card.
Devil's advocate, he takes a step after the contact.
So what?
Okay.
When you're going at pace, it only takes the slightest of touch. It was a goal scoring opportunity.
There's no way he's going to come down. He's
and-
one-on-one with the keeper.
Yeah, he's done that for a reason, because he knows, like Robbie just said, he's been caught out of position and he's not favourite to get the ball, and he's brought him down. He's
At
done
full
enough
pace.
to bring him down.
It
So,
just knocks him off
but coming
balance.
back to what Robbie said as well, how important it is, and this is a really good lesson for all youngsters. Here's some of the other chances that Australia have had, to when you get into those positions, just to go across the player, because they've got to be so careful.
Yeah.
You know, they don't clip you or anything like that. It was a good save from the goalkeeper from Nepal. I think he's done really well in this first half, especially with some of the crosses.
So you're happy with the flow, Robbie, obviously. Where is that flow emanating from? Is it the two holding midfielders making the right choices about where to zip the ball into midfield or go wide on occasions?
Yeah, look, I think some of the passes haven't always come off, but the way everything, the first intention is always forward, not to go backwards. And certainly the two players in the middle of the park are doing their part, and the rotation's good up front. So, you know, the ball speed's been good, and the players look really sharp.
Graham Arnold is massive on set pieces. He knows it's going to play a massive part in the next phase of qualifying. I mean, you can practice all you want on a training ground, but when you actually get it out there into match situations, Bozza, what they've served up so far from corners and attacking free kicks, how would you describe it?
It's been okay. It's been nothing spectacular. But like I said, coming back to the original goal, was a foul there on the goalkeeper. It's all about the delivery. So you can, like you said, you can practice them all you want. And obviously it's important for the boys that are making runs, their timing. But the most important thing is delivery, because it all basically starts from that. Because if it's a poor delivery, you can forget about scoring any type of goal. So, you know, they should be looking, I mean, Cafu, the great Brazilian right back, I saw him do an interview the other day when he was talking about when he was a youngster, that he finished training with something close to 150 crosses. and he was one of the best crosses of the ball that there was, and that was from fullback. So it's all about who's delivering.
We don't do that today.
Worked out okay for him. Yeah, you're true.
The players aren't allowed to do that today.
Loads. Loads. We're off to a quick break here live on Fox Sports. We'll have a few more thoughts before we get back to Kuwait for the second half of the Socceroos in control, 2-0 up, and up a man as well after the Nepalese had a player sent off just before half-time. Back soon. Yeah, welcome back. Almost set for the second half in Kuwait. Yes, woohoo, indeed. Everyone's had a rest, namely those Socceroos and Nepalese players in 38-degree heat at 9 o'clock at night or 8 o'clock at night, local time, if you don't mind. A bit later on, Kuwait take on Jordan. They are battling for second position in the group. The best 5, by the way, second-place teams go through because Qatar have obviously qualified for the World Cup. They're topping one of the groups at the moment, but they are through. They're going to play the Gold Cup, the CONCACAF Gold Cup coming up, Qatar. So that's them. This is us, Australia. The players that you want to see more out of, that we saw out of there, or maybe someone off the bench, Boz? That,
no, off the bench.
I
really hope he makes 5 changes again, and as early as possible, so they give the boys a real opportunity to make a mark on the game.
Yeah, Curtis Good, Kenny Dougal, Brennan Borrello and Adam Taggart and Danny Vukovic are the players that won't be taking part because they're not on the subs bench, Robbie, but you're casting your eye over that list right there.
It doesn't matter. All of the players, we want to see them, and that's what we're getting in these 2.5 games so far. But for Australia now, it's a great opportunity against. You feel a bit sorry for Nepal that they've lost a player, but it's going to be a very difficult second half for them. A lot of running, and obviously they're going to be quite deep at times and compact, and just the odd one up front. So it's up to Australia to move the ball around, and it's a great opportunity for them to get some goals.
Let's get back to the second half with our callers Andy Harper and Brenton Speeding. We're hearing, guys, that Lawrence Thomas could make his Socceroos debut off the bench in this second half. So we'll wait and see with that one.
The potential of a 4th different goalkeeper already in these 3 games out of 4 in Kuwait. The original squad of 31 reduced to 29 when Brad Smith went back to Seattle. Apo Yanu went back to his club as well with an injury concern. So 24 out of the 29 in this squad now have been starters in this tournament, Andy Harper. We're seeing a lot of faces, a lot of players get their opportunity.
Yeah, well, it's an opportunity for them. It's a great opportunity for Graham Arnold to rifle people through the various seats and see who settles into international football. And the pressure's not on at the moment. The team's qualified already. The opponents as dogged as Nepal have been tonight, and I'm really impressed, and they will find it difficult going down a man. That they've been so impressive. I think offered the most stubborn resistance in the 3 games so far in this qualifying hub. And Graham Arnold is right to reward players with some game time.
So Australia looking to get right on the front foot from the kickoff routine. They've already scored from the kickoff at the start of a second half in this tournament, and one back by Hrustic, playing with his head up, playing Lecky right through the middle, and that's an important challenge. A full stretch from Suman, the left back. Otherwise Lecky was about to make it 3.
Yeah, Suman has battled hard tonight. He's been exposed on a couple of occasions, but that was an excellent piece of recovery work.
What about that greeting from Suta, coming face to face with the goalkeeper, captured by the camera just behind the goal. And here they come to put bodies on Big Harry, who towers over every opponent he faces in world football pretty much. Almost for Duke, throws his hands to his head in frustration. Their share of corners already, Australia, without posing that big a threat. You will have noticed the number 14 is on for Nepal. That is Anjan Bista, the scorer of 3 of their 4 goals against Chinese Taipei in this qualification phase. Another one who caught your eye 2 years ago. Playing on the right wing. 4-4-1 shape now. After the expulsion of Rohit. Irvine tried to thread the needle to Hrustic. Suta along the deck this time. Went aerial more often than not in that first half. Flag does go up against Leckie, and Duke, who was looking across that line, had given up on his strike partner.
Again, very well organised. Back four in great. Confident it was a tight call. And just a measure of how well Nepal defended Speedy. The series of corners that Australia have had, and it's not from any of those really that the goalkeeper's ultimately been tested. And I think that's a really important thing to note, given the huge physical disparity. Harry Sutar towers over most players in world football, as you quite correctly said, but it's even more pronounced in a match like this. So they've handled him brilliantly, and they've defended their goal superbly from corners. In general play, they've defended really well. It's been a good test for the Socceroos.
6 corners have all gone Australia's way so far. Karacic set a task by Hrustic. Duke got there to flick it on. And there's Anjan Bista getting back. Only as far as Bajic, who can whip it straight back in. Chance for Leckie. Goalkeeper goes down. And somehow Nepal emerge unscathed from that little entry from Aziz Bajic. Here is the danger man. Bajic able to get back goal side of him.
He just didn't quite have the speed to cause Bajic any real trouble there. Bajic, of course, just taking that deflection on the way through, put an awkward spin on the ball. Pretty much played attackers and defenders out.
Metcalf reacted well. Found the feet of Boyle. Threaded it through for Duke, who was just clipped as he tried to hit top speed. What do you make of that role that Martin Boyle is playing tonight? One of those 10s, if you like. Cutting in more often than not from that left-hand side.
Yeah, well, he's a different type of player from that which Graham Arnold would deploy in a position like that when he was at Sydney FC. He's neither a Baumjohann or certainly a Ninkovic. Baumjohann wasn't there when Arnie was coaching, of course, but you get the picture. That he's more dynamic, got great speed.
A better ball in behind for Duke. Leckie in the middle, all the way across for Hrustic. Leckie elected to punch it wide, and there were plenty of numbers in and around the area. Whipped in by Deganek.
Hrustic in particular, having set the attack forward, wanted to execute the 1-2 with Leckie.
Here he is, dragging it down, the skipper. Gautam able to nod it outside the area.
He's done a good job, Gautam, tonight.
Krustic, great delivery for Boyle. Header goes wide. He watched it all the way, hoping it would find a bit of movement from right to left.
Yeah, it's a good run forward. Krustic again, beautiful.
These players would know their time is running out. Graham Arnold will go to his bench around the hour mark, you'd anticipate. Mistake by Nepal, and it might play Boyle in here in search of his third international goal, side netting.
The technique let him down badly there. Martin Boyle. Krustic thought he was fouled, and you just saw him light the fuse to win the ball back and put the pressure on, which provided the momentum for this opportunity. And the ball in Martin Boyle's defence, just taking a slight bobble, but still he's in a good enough position to improve the outcome from the header which preceded that attack.
Emphatic header there from Sutar to get Australia going forward again. Here's the impressive Gautam. Broke nicely off Boyle for Metcalf. Krustic, so strong, but taken off his toes successfully. Clip around the corner. Tough to find Karacic's run that time. Two or three thoughts every time he gets the ball, Aiden Krustic. Duke appeals for a penalty after the mishit shot and then the connection with the defender. Nepal could easily have capitulated after being reduced to 10 men. Still plenty of time to go, of course, in this second half. Graham Arnold has talked about being ruthless against these teams ranked lowly by FIFA. Martin Boyle's let them off the hook a couple of times since the break. He's got that £500,000 buyout clause at Hibs in Scotland after being in that SPL team of the season. He'd love to add a couple of goals on the international stage just to maybe secure a move elsewhere. Karacic found by Bajic. Krustic find that bottom corner from a long way out.
Iran really untested so far in this second half. Australia have had all the ball, of course, as you'd expect. And some good territory, but haven't forced any heroics from Kiran.
Redmayne gets a rare touch. Will there be some goalkeeper rotation tonight? Lawrence Thomas, who's playing his club football in Denmark, the fourth goalkeeper in this squad of 29. Irvine across to the back post, and Boyle does get his goal. A tap in, and it's Australia 3, Nepal 0. And there's the smiles on the dials of the Hibs pair.
Well, Jackson Irvine has been playing well. He's linked up with his Hibs teammate beautifully here. It's a superb pass in behind the defence. And having just said that Kiran hadn't been tested, he'll be disappointed that he couldn't clean up his 6-yard box there. Arik was rounded just expertly by Jackson Irvine, who just threads a beautiful pass there. Martin Ball's run was positive, timed perfectly, and the finish just what was ordered.
Well, they shared disappointment in the Scottish Cup final, beaten by St Johnstone, were Hibernian. They struck up a good bond when Irvine arrived in January. And now Hrustic is looking for Boyle. They can't get near him at the moment. Australia's number 6. Duke on the turn. Tried to play it back to Hrustic, who is making things happen.
Well, Hrustic with that beautiful switch over the top to Boyle. Wouldn't quite settle for him. And then the ball certainly wouldn't settle again for Mitch Duke. Having a little difficulty in recent moments. Mitch Duke getting control of the ball.
Jackson Irvine with some feedback. Whipped in by Hrustic, flicked on by Leckie, and back off the post and out. Somehow Sutar was sniffing around for another international goal. Right now, Australia turning up the heat on Nepal in Q8. Hrustic loves delivering from that little pocket. Boyle's header. Duke just shoved under it. Appeals again for a spot kick. Referee gives him nothing in return. Duke knows all about roles being reversed there. A striker pushing a defender in the back, and how quick the whistle comes. Boyle so dangerous with a miscue on the header that time.
Glancing the arm on the way through of Galton. Post saving that from being an own goal. I guess it would have had to have been called an own goal. It was heading wide off Leckie's head.
Ticking down towards that hour mark, and it is time for change. Second substitution executed by Abdullah Al-Matari. It's the 4th international appearance for Manish Dangi. He's 19 years of age, another of the youngsters in this squad. And Jan Bista judging the spin well. Karacic wins it back for Australia. Took his eye off the ball at a key moment. But Nepal with very few forays into Australia's half in this second 45. Changes are going to come thick and fast, you sense. And Mitch Duke, coming off a 90-minute performance against Chinese Taipei, is the first Australian withdrawn tonight, and Matt Leckie is following him. Jamie McLaren with fresh legs and a hunger for goals. Likewise, Nikita Rukavica. So fresh attacking talent from Graham Arnold.
McLaren helped himself to a hat-trick. Corresponding fixture in Canberra. A great game from Matt Leckie. Really, really good performance. Interestingly, he's taken the captain's armband with him. Didn't hand it off, as is the convention. To
Rukavica straight into the action, playing in McLaren, who was offside. Nearly the immediate impact from the two strikers off the bench. It's a great step up. Clever work by Pujan, who slotted into the heart of defence after the dismissal of Rohit. It'll work out as a perfect little 1-2 from Kieran. .210 countries are ranked by FIFA, and Nepal at 171 on that list. Will be on the rise after beating Chinese Taipei. We're surprised to see them flip positions, but against Australia, the gulf in class is evident.
yeah, but against other countries in Asia, various competitions, this group of Nepal players will climb that ladder.
Here's Boyle finding the run of Bajic, look to tease it to that back post.
It's a little bit of passion.
And frustration. Anjan Bista, very smart player, wanted a bit more help from his teammate in the 2-on-1 situation. Karacic, one of the Australian goal scorers tonight. Carry is the cry for Metcalf, but he saw a better option in Bajic with the miscontrol. Header from Karacic under pressure. Irvine, one of the defensive midfielders in that 6 role. Krustic as a 10. Plenty of power in the shot, but again over that crossbar. Scorer of 1 Bundesliga goal so far against Mainz with Eintracht Frankfurt at the back end of the campaign.
But he's continually made really nice space for himself. His shooting hasn't been what he would have expected of himself. His passing's been good.
It will be a joy to watch once we see the Socceroos back on home soil, playing on the pristine pitches.
That's not always guaranteed, Speedy.
But Ange changed all that.
He certainly tried. But it will be good to watch him. In front of Australian fans.
That's the wish when the next phase begins in September. Boyle just overhits it, intended for Rukovica. Maybe Australian opposition and the Socceroos themselves can come in and have a 5-day quarantine or something of that nature. Redmayne, it was awkward, and in the end that whistle was a welcome relief, because he was almost executing a tackle around the bootlaces to stop the striker. Fresh off the bench, Manish, from looking at an empty net potentially. Krustic holding off his man, clipping it through, and again just rolling away from Rukovica, who then had the ice skates on. Oof. Could have been serious for Manish as well, the way that knee was bending. Don't you see some amazing things on those super slow-mo?
What the body goes through. Not designed for that. Beautiful ball from Jackson Irvine to Martin Boyle for 3-0 for Australia.
McLaren and Rukovica get some combination play going. The Golden Boot winner in the A-League will be cheering on Melbourne City from afar as they look to secure a home grand final in Sunday week's semi. Knocked off by Newcastle in the final game of the regular season just over 24 hours ago now. Irvine and Metcalf combined to win it back. Krustic with space. Again, another shot. Rebounds away. McLaren was thinking tap in, but Kieran, it spun back to his advantage.
That was better from Krustic. Jamie McLaren hovering. Trying to clean up the rebound, but Kieran did well, as he has done most of the night. In goal. Always going to be a difficult night. Playing against Australia, beautiful leave.
We'll go for goal again. Krustic keeps on shooting from outside the area. Had a look at Karacic and couldn't see an angle.
I think he's believe it or not, I think he's continually surprised by how much space is opening up for him around the edge of the box. He's sort of feeling obliged to shoot. And you sort of get the impression that his default position is to try and set someone else up.
Game opening up here, 20 minutes to go. Australia have played against 10 men since late in that first half. And they finish with a flourish. Or is one eye already on the final game in this group against Jordan? Should be a tough end for them. The examination at the end of this Group B. Irvine and Metcalf winning more and more ball at the base of midfield. Krustic and Boyle clearly chopped down. Pujan hung out a leg. Another Krustic shot coming up.
Getting close to double figures.
Got him down for 7 shots so far, 4 of those on target. Goes for goal. Kuwaiti director just nodding off on us, but fortunately it didn't go in the back of the net, just onto the roof of the net. And more changes. Martin Boyle got his goal tonight. He was desperately in search of it. He was frustrated for a long time. But on 57 minutes, he made it 3 for Australia tonight and replaced by Awa Mobile. So fresh legs in that attacking third. It was McLaren who took the set piece. How many would have known that but for the replays? Second drinks break. What have you made of Australia and the way they've dealt with the advantage of having that one man extra?
Well, I think they're doing well in difficult circumstances. Actually, I think the main talking point is how resilient Nepal have been right from the get-go. And they've managed to put off quite impressively Australia's advantage on the scoreboard. I think some of the opponents in this group would have collapsed a lot earlier. This coach has done a good job on this evidence. The Socceroos were never expected to struggle in this match, and it's not that they have struggled, but they haven't had it all their own way. And Graham Arnold, quite reasonably and understandably, will be comfortable with his team's performance.
Redmayne remains in goal, but the word is that Lawrence Thomas could be handed an international debut by Graham Arnold in this closing stanza. Already seen 6 more Socceroos earn their caps in this mini tournament, if you like. You can look at the behind the scenes of Tim Cahill presenting those caps to the latest debutants. He had a connection to each and every one of them from his Melbourne City days as well, including Connor Metcalf, Denny Genre, Ruan Tonic, all shared a dressing room at some stage with Tim Cahill. Flag will go up here against Rukovitsia. Timmy chimed in via Zoom and presented them with their caps, which is a really nice touch. Coolly done. Mobile, his best first touch. The Midtjylland flyer, former Adelaide United man in the A-League. Look at the numbers committed forward here by the Gorkali, so there's space for Hrustic now. Karacic making up the ground. He'll use him this time. Back towards Hrustic. Again, straight at the keeper. It was a decent strike.
Good strike. He wasn't helped by Fran Karacic's pass. But he edges closer to the double figures efforts on goal. Straight at the keeper, however.
Here on this difficult playing surface. Hrustic protected himself there, saw the challenge brewing from Arik Bista. Kieran just keeping his teammates honest for this closing period. Those two again formed a nice combination, the two sixes.
Yeah, Conor Metcalf has slipped straight in, no surprise. In a lot of senses, you're never quite sure. But all the signs over the last two A-League seasons, including the injury-disrupted campaign last time round, but he was showing all the signs then of being something special. He's had a superb campaign this time around, and his ascension to national team selection is completely appropriate. He looks right at home.
And Japan bound with the Socceroos next month. Interesting to see what role he plays there, what formation Graham Arnold plays as well. I've seen him be very adept at pushing into a more attacking role in midfield with Melbourne City. Taken some goals beautifully throughout the season. Concern in the lower back for Milos Degenek. Again, they're committing numbers forward here in search of a consolation goal, but Redmayne snatches it out of the sky and gets Mobile rolling forward. As is Bayich, full of running. Some engine that former Melbourne Heart and Melbourne Victory man has. Movement here from McLaren. Go back to Bayich. Now Rukavica in the middle, all the way through to Irvine. Difficult one on the half volley.
Yeah, turning away from goal, but good numbers in the box from the Socceroos. Great burst out at the back. Andrew Redmayne having to claim across. It was a rare bit of involvement for him. But he fed Mobile, who was supported by that bursting run of Aziz Bayich. And then when they finally got to the penalty area of Nepal, there was a selection of Socceroos who'd made forward runs to join the attack. It was a very good sign.
Well, he's used every trick in the book to waste time for these goal kicks, and the referee's had enough. Understandable from Kieran, though. His goal has been under siege. Sutar led with the arm, and Graham Arnold, Jackson Irvine can't quite believe the call. But, well won by Manish. Another late run out coming for Ruan Tonic. Will it be for Sutar or Degenek, who was clutching at that lower back a moment ago, perhaps? Redmayne again with a proactive throw. Beale claiming a hand. Sutar looks for a flag. And eventually it's raised against Manish. Now Mobile's into the game. Neat little step over. Irvine wanted better service to add to his 3 goals and 5 assists in this 7-game winning streak. Nice contribution from that deep lying midfield role. Tried everything to stop him. Going head to head with the man with UEFA Champions League experience against the likes of Liverpool. So Andrew Redmayne has received the call, and congratulations to Lawrence Thomas. The former Melbourne Victory goalkeeper makes his international debut, a 4th goalkeeper used in this tournament by Graham Arnold. Played 32 games in his first season in Denmark with Socceroos. They've actually come up with a gold jersey for the Aussie to wear in goal for the Danish club, which he's had a hand in designing himself, Lawrence Thomas. That's a nice touch. Australia and Denmark have that connection on so many fronts. He replaced Andrew Redmayne and not Danny Vukovic. Most broadcasters had a bit of a nightmare at times with the graphics. It's not a Fox Sports responsibility. And that's a foul. Referee turned a blind eye, literally. Lifted in, and the header was on target. Kieran had to scramble as it held up a little, almost a slower ball for him to contend with off Rukovic's head.
He did well, the keeper. Kerwin. And at the other end, on debut, Lawrence Thomas, the proud graduate of the Pendle Hill Tigers Football Club in the west of Sydney. Another Socceroo out of Sydney's western suburbs. Congratulations to him.
Another goalkeeper out of Sydney's west.
Same club as goalkeeper coach John Crawley.
Hey, I see.
Mobile now on corner taking duty, and Sutar got the header on target, and Kieran with great athleticism got around to keep it out. Sutar thought he'd done enough.
Well, he's diving to his left and his right. He's got mud stains on both legs to prove it. Done a really good job tonight. So impressed with Nepal in the very difficult circumstances. They lost key central defender just on half-time with that red card for denying an opportunity for goal scoring.
Mobile shifted over to that right-hand side. Toniak again coming on to play as a midfielder. Mobile's delivery, Irvine staying inside that area right now, and Bajic. The deflection, very handy off Pujan.
And Australia looking to finish with a flurry, 5 minutes plus stoppages. They can sense there might be 1 or 2 more on offer here.
Flicked onto that near post. Now Toniak and McLaren on the chase. Last touch off who? That was Toniak. Nepal's throw. Hardly a hair out of place after 86 minutes. It's a good effort for Suman Arial. Tonjik and Mobile combined. Nice weight on the pass for Karacic. And the back heel chop for Mobile, almost. Tidied up by Arik Bista. And Nepal go clear again. Manish, chance to run at defenders. She tripped up by Deganek. They appeal in vain. Irvine shifted forward after the arrival of Tonjik. McLaren trying to work some magic here. Goes again, does J-Mac, and Jan Bista goes down theatrically after coughing a stray arm, he thought, from Australia's number 9.
In the end, Australia, last couple of attacks have pretty much looked to just try and bash the ball home. Certainly this is McLaren's idea there. Tonjik teaming up with Milos Deganek to win the ball back for Australia. Tonjik, who backed himself to make the national team of Australia when he was heavily courted by South Sudan, which, as we speak, is where Valentino Yule is doing his thing, the Newcastle Jet striker. And his belief paid off. His career at an all-time high at the moment, Ruan Tonjik. The Mariners will miss him tonight in Gosford. I'm sure he'll be watching keenly.
Fatigue a factor there, because earlier in the game, Aziz Baic with pinpoint delivery from that left-hand side teed up Matt Leckie for the opening goal 6 minutes in. Fran Karacic played in by Leckie for the second goal for Australia. Then came the red card, and you might have expected an avalanche in the second half. But only Martin Boyle has been able to find the back of the net for Australia since the break. Still time for another chance or two to be created here in the 90th minute. Mobile. Getting that organisation at the back, and Anta, key figure, the number 4 for Nepal. Nice pass in from Tonjik. Metcalf follows up and goes for goal on target from Connor Metcalf. A rare chance to unleash for him so far tonight. Almost made the most of it. How much stoppage time will Kieran be asked to contend with here? As Almateri utilises all of his available changes. One last triple change. Including an international debut for Kamal Tapa, the number 21. Congratulations to him. Just has to wait for Siraj to get out there and into position. Fourth official just struggling to execute the triple change. Not an easy feat. Getting those mod cons sorted. Now we're right to go again. That took about 90 seconds, maybe a little bit more. Metcalf, really strong showing. Sutar drives it low. And Anta repelling just about everything tonight. Tonyik and Mobile, little no-looker intended for McLaren. Karacic. Mobile dancing. McLaren. Again, so many bodies in the road. And they launch a counter-attack. 10-man Nepal. Still a chance to go forward through Manish. The debutant getting a touch. Kamal Tapa. The longest spell of possession in the entire second half here for Nepal. I feel like this is a mini victory, conceding just one in the second half. Time just about up. Referee adding on a bit more time after the delay for that triple change.
Get up, man.
Little flashpoint potential.
Well, he's a fiery customer, isn't he? He's given plenty since he's come on the field.
Six wins in a row outside of Australia for the first time since the 1960s for the Socceroos. 7 wins in a row overall for the first time since a 14-game winning streak between 1996 and 1997. But Nepal win plenty of admirers tonight. They're a team on the rise in those FIFA rankings. And they frustrated Australia for large parts of this game. Kieran outstanding in goal. And in the end, it's goals from Leckie, Karacic and Boyle that secure the 3 points for Australia, who are 100% in Group B with one more hurdle to overcome against Jordan on the final match day before their attention turns to the next phase of AFC World Cup qualifiers. Full time in Kuwait City tonight. It's Australia after 36 attempts on goal and 16 shots on target with 3 goals to their name, and Nepal 0.
Brett and Speed, Andy Harper, thank you for that. Yeah, so it's now 7 straight for the Socceroos. First time that's happened in 24 years, and 6 straight wins away from home. First time that has happened in 52 years. So a couple of records being set in that regard. The main thing, though, Robbie Slater and Mark Bosnich, is that the Socceroos 100% confirmed for the next stage. We knew this was, in all probability, going to be the case going forward, but not as simple as it might have seemed going into the match, given what we saw against Nepal in Canberra a couple of years ago.
I would argue the main thing that came out of tonight was how well Nepal done. I thought, you know, and I said it before Chinese Taipei, that it's so important for these teams to play against better opposition. And the fact that they went down to 10 men, 2-0 down at half-time, and put a performance like they did in the second half, congratulations to them. I thought they were excellent in what they did. Socceroos, like I said, through to the second phase, we pretty much knew that was going to occur anyway. And now it's really, you know, pretty much all systems go now. Looking forward to that in September. Obviously, we've got a game against Jordan coming up. We're interested to see what team Graham puts out. I've got a feeling that he may put out what he considers probably his A-team, if you like, full strength side. But like I said, I was so impressed with Nepal, and especially a special word for their goalkeeper, Kieran. I thought he was excellent in the second half.
Robbie, your impressions?
Yeah, pretty similar. Yeah, we just watched it. It was what it was. Dominant, plenty of shots on goal. Could have had more goals, didn't. And Nepal did defend very well. And the goalkeeper had a pretty good game. And, you know, it's mission accomplished. pretty much, as we knew it would be. It was a question of, like all the games we've had so far, is how many we would get. Are we a little bit disappointed with only getting 3, considering they went 10 men in the second half? I think yes and no. Yeah, it has little bearing on how this group is going to finish.
36
now,
off the 3.
All Graham Arnold's got to do is send all the boys home that are in the final, so we can get them back for the grand final.
Even if they do, I reckon they'll still be sitting in a hotel room when it all happens. So anyway, that's the way it is at the moment with the A-League. But looking at the standings in Group B, this second phase, this is round 2 of the World Cup qualifiers. The big stuff is in round 3, and you want to try and avoid a round 4, which is a playoff, which is the route we went down last time around to qualify for Russia 2018. A reminder, Australia's qualified for every World Cup since we broke through all those years ago in 2005 against Uruguay, qualified for 06 and the one since. But 21 points, 7 from 7. That's a pretty picture from an Australian perspective. The last game against Jordan, who in about an hour's time will take on Kuwait. We're off to a quick break here live on Fox Sports. Back in a moment to wrap things up, maybe get some reaction if we can out of Kuwait and get the boys' thoughts on some of the players to really impress out of that one. The third match of this hub situation in Kuwait, 3-0 to Australia. Back soon. Welcome back live on Fox Sports. Against 10 men, Nepal certainly held their own in that second half. It was 2-0 at half-time. The Socceroos, the one goal in the second half, Martin Boyle getting that one, but 3-0 in the end. The Socceroos keeping their 100% record in Group B in this second phase of qualifying before the all-important third phase. And Robbie Slater, is it a concern at all that, again, we've basically gone to town in terms of shots in a game, 36 in this one, only got 3 goals out of it?
Well, it's certainly so. And Chinese Taipei was in the 40s, if you remember. And I don't think it's that much of a concern. I think they're making plenty of chances. They're getting into good areas, and you're up against, so many bodies in the box. And, there was so many times there that they were an inch or only centimetres away from scoring goals. So, no, I don't think it's a problem.
Not as much a concern if you're not creating the chances. If you're not creating the chances, it's definitely a concern. It will become a concern if the rate of conversion remains the same when it comes to the big games. Because in the big games, you're going to get maybe 3 or 4 chances if you're very, very fortunate. Well,
the most famous example of the not taking chances was that Thailand game down in Melbourne, where we had like 49 chances, I think it was, and it could only score 1 goal when we needed a couple. But
it was.
Anyway, that's history.
But all you can hope for from a manager's perspective, if you're setting up your team, is that the team play in a certain way that you're going to create chances for your players. If your players don't put it away, well, what are you going to do? Or you could come up against a goalkeeper like we did tonight in Kiran, who was absolutely outstanding. And, this is what makes our game, football, so entertaining is the fact that in a lot of other sports, say like basketball, for example, the weight of pressure generally translates into points. In our game, you can come up against an outstanding goalkeeper, you can have an off night in front of goal, you can just be unlucky, and then the other team all of a sudden go up the other end and score. So it keeps everyone in it. But it'll be definitely become a concern in the next phase if you don't put it away. But I think the biggest concern, and Robbie raised it the other night, was the fact that it does look like that we won't be able to play here in Australia. And we are very, very strong at home, as we know, and we'll be playing in the Middle East against these stronger sides, where traditionally in the Middle East we haven't had the greatest of records.
Well, the biggest question about all of that is that third phase, when? Because it's going to be...
does it get delayed?
Where are you going to do it? Are you going to do it in January, February, where a lot of the Asian or the East Asian countries are having their break? Or are you going to do it at the end of their season when it's stinking hot in June in the Middle East? It's a big, big question. There was murmurs about September.
September, yeah.
Well, maybe, but that's when the first round of matches are slated to take place. But then they've got those match days all the way through until March.
Well, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think those match days are going to happen. I think it's going to happen like this.
One big hub.
One big hub.
One big hub.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
And they're going to play it and get it over and done with. I just think it's too risky and strung out too long, because the way COVID, we know how,
well, it's
here. It's not here one day and the next day it's here. So I think that what they would like to do is get it like this in one hub and get it over and done with.
That would suit the A-League clubs as well, because if it's in, out, some of these players who are based in the A-League, they won't play next season.
Well, I guess so, but when AFC make the decision, it will be based purely on the health side. They won't be based on individual club scenarios. I can understand where you're coming from, but I'm sure, like Robbie said, because of the unpredictability, that's exactly what they're going to decide it upon, and that's what I'm leaning towards. I'm leaning towards right now. Like Robbie said, this is going to be a hub, and that's it.
These are the goals, by the way, if you're just waking up or you're just
Matthew
getting
Leckie
home,
with the first, and this is arguably the best goal of the game for Australia. Once again, Leckie with the assist, going out wide, underlapping fullback Karacic, who's been impressive in the 2 games that he's played with the finish. And then there was a sending off right before the end of half-time for the Nepal player.
Looks like he's built some nice depth, though, especially in those wider positions. And Robbie, we know Graham Arnold, the fullbacks, he wants 2 left backs, 2 right backs, obviously in the squad. He's got 2 right backs, and Brad Smith, if he didn't come home, he was going to be the backup option to
the thing what you want to do across the squad is when you finally have the squad you're going to take into the second phase, whatever it is you want to double up in every position, and that's the way he likes to do it, and he's certainly got plenty of options. And the kids coming through, like Jean Rowe the other night, Megcalf I thought was very good.
Excellent.
This evening, and I thought all the players were good this evening. It's just we didn't get the amount of goals that I suppose that maybe we wanted, but
in difficult conditions as well. 38 degrees, bad pitch. Here's Matt Leckie after that 3-0 success for the Socceroos.
Matt Leckie, you're making quite the habit of scoring goals here in Kuwait City.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously happy. It was a tough first 10 minutes, and they actually came at us pressing. So to score another goal to sort of get the game under control a little bit, I was very happy with, and obviously not going to complain if I can keep scoring.
Talk us through your memories of your goal. Obviously a great cross from Aziz Bage.
Yeah, look, we had a game plan set. We knew that the pockets would be able to get in some of the pockets in between the midfield and the defence, and then try to get out wide and break that line. And obviously, it's not always easy in the conditions of the pitch to get the accuracy on the cross, but Aziz hit it perfectly in the moment, and it came off my head as well perfectly. So I was very happy with the finish, and like I said, it was a very important goal to sort of dictate the game from there on in.
Australia scored a second in the first half, and this time you made an assist for friend Karacic, who scored his first international goal. A great moment for him.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a special moment for him. He wouldn't let go of me after the goal. We obviously gave him a hug, and we were stoked for him, and he was grabbing me pretty tight. So stoked for him. Hasn't, I think, coming into camp for such a long time since he was there in Turkey a few years back. It's not so easy. He doesn't really know too many players, so he needs to find his rhythm, and I think a goal will make him feel a lot better. And as day by day as things go on, he'll feel more comfortable, and hopefully he'll settle in a lot more. And I think he's a great player. For me, against Kuwait, he was one of the best. Didn't put a foot wrong, and tonight again, very solid.
And the result tonight seals Australia's place atop Group B in qualifying, and that's what the group set out for back in 2019.
Yeah, for sure. We came here to try to win the 4 games, and so far so good. We're 3 from 4, and we definitely want to go into the last game and look for the W as well. Not just because we're qualified now. Obviously, it's a good achievement, and it's what we wanted, but we want more as well. So we'll definitely prepare ourselves well for the final game against Jordan. I'm sure Arnie will put out a very strong side, and we want to go home with all 4 wins and continue our unbeaten record.
The win tonight also seals Australia a place at the AFC Asian Cup in China in 2023, which is always an important competition for the team.
Yeah, definitely. It's another thing that we've achieved, and it all comes together when you're winning and you're playing well. I think that's 7 wins in a row now. No loss, no draw, and it's something that's never been achieved, and we want to continue that. I think we've been dominant in every game we've played so far, and sometimes you can be dominant, and the chances that you create, they don't go in. But we just keep going, and we got 3 today. Could have been more, but I think we're doing all the right things. We're getting in the right positions, and we're creating the chances. Just sometimes it doesn't. The end product, whether it's a bit of unluck, a bit of loss of concentration, or even the conditions of the pitch. But as long as we're doing the right things, we're always going to be going in the right direction, step in the right direction, and that's what we'll continue to try to do.
And just finally, Matt, you're wearing the number 7, and there have been 7 debutants here in Kuwait City. The latest, Lawrence Thomas, a fantastic moment for him.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a special moment for the boys. Mine was especially. I remember mine, and it was very special. And we've had the opportunity also to, we had Timmy online the other day who represented the debutants their caps. So I think that's a massive honour for them as well. And we're just building the squad. Although we've had a long layoff and we haven't been together for so long, we've had the opportunity to find some more depth, some more youngsters coming through, and the team's only looking stronger.
Matt, enjoyed the result tonight, and all the best on Tuesday against Jordan.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you.
Matthew Leckie there with the Gettysburg Address. It was a longish interview. Mark Vostich and Robbie Slater, but good to get his thoughts, and he's obviously pretty happy and settling into the role as captain. What? What?
What you said?
Okay.
Gettysburg Address.
Hey, just a few things to get off his chest.
Come on. Italy, Turkey starting soon. Come on, let's go.
Jordan is the next task for the Socceroos, and that will be Wednesday morning as part of a big double-header, national team double-header, all-nighter on Tuesday night required if you're a supporter of our national teams here in Australia, with the Matildas taking on Sweden first up, and then the Socceroos taking on Jordan in the 4th of these World Cup qualifiers from Kuwait. And we're looking forward to this as well. It's tonight. It's actually in a couple of minutes, it feels like.
Well, the way we're going, we won't make it.
Central Coast and MacArthur, the A-League finals start. Tonight, the A-League finals roar to life with the Central Coast Mariners and MacArthur, a story straight out of Hollywood. You know the yarn. The ruthless bad guy, the underdog with all the heart. These Mariners, 4 wooden spoons in 5 years, now chasing a fairy tale championship. They haven't been this far since 2013. The secret to the turnaround? Well, simple. Hard work. Coach Stadge, down and out, now back in a big way. Matt Simon, the local hero in his twilight years, still cares as much as anyone, anywhere. And this kid Qual off the bench, a refugee who just wanted a chance, capable of anything.
And Alu Qual scores. What a moment that is for the Mariners' young gun.
Sorry, MacArthur, you're the villains here. Slick new club, quality across the park, more than enough to rip the heart out of this fairy tale.
And now a little lift over the top. Brilliant. Markel Shushayenza. Fantastic. Finished off by Derbyshire.
Tonight, this is Rocky versus Ivan Drago, Danielson versus Cobra Kai, the Mariners and the Bulls. Elimination football, live and exclusive on Fox Sports. Finals here, looking forward to Gosford tonight with these two gentlemen, of course, and then Brisbane, Adelaide as well, guys. Yep. How do you see this one up in Brizzy?
As much as I'd like to see Adelaide win because of the young players, especially that Cassini Yangi, I think Brisbane will win this.
Yeah, I think Brisbane. I think Adelaide's form's dipped in the last month.
They got a few injuries.
Yeah, and it'll be a tough ask for them. They're certainly capable with the likes of Halloran, Goodwin. Yep. But Brisbane's going to be difficult to beat up there. in the packed stadium.
I mean, you two guys, you know, you commentated. I was actually driving to a game on the Brisbane versus Sydney game. You said that Brisbane played really well.
Yeah, really well. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, the man of the match was Sydney's goalkeeper, Thomas Hewitt-Bell. So that tells the story right there. Gentlemen, thank you for your company this morning.
Let's go.
See you on Wednesday.
See you. Let's go now. Italy versus Turkey.
Thanks for your company. The Socceroos another win. That was important, and we look forward to Jordan on Wednesday morning and the A-League finals before that, and the Matildas on Wednesday morning as well. So plenty more to come on Fox Sports.
It's been a Fox Sports production.